might as well start.
Go ahead and
talk about all our afflictions.
Christ, man. That's Patrick. I'm Jeffrey, and we're addressing our elderly aches and pains.
Yeah. So, and the various remedies.
The fuck, man. Using different forms of foot powder and shit, you know.
Gold Bond.
Yeah. No, it sucks. Yeah, you're right. I don't like to hit it too hard. I don't like to. Tylenol, like I said, it's reserved for fevers.
Yeah.
Although that being said, I do. I don't know. I tend to hit allergy medication.
I take it every day.
Yeah, somewhat frequently. So.
I just take the little Zyrtec stuff. It's over the counter at Costco.
That's the stuff you showed me. Yeah.
It's fantastic. Oh, man, I'm stuffed. So.
Oh, what's your problem?
Nothing. I just ate food. So, yeah.
No, that's a good thing. What did you eat?
I made myself I used my 3-in-1 cooker to whip up a big old batch of, like, homemade baked potato soup. So
wow,
yeah, it's actually really easy to make in that thing. So it doesn't take like 9 hours to cook.
You know what you just did you pressure cook it?
I did.
Yeah, a million Frenchmen right now just vomited in disgust of you. Of you not letting it simmer for a full 9 hours.
They don't have baked potatoes in France anyway. Fuck off.
No, they don't. No, what are they? No, it's
Papa Fritz. So
Pommes frites.
Pommes frites. That's right. Pommes is French fries. Yeah.
Yeah, you're thinking of papas fritas.
Papas fritas. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, okay.
But that's still French fries, so I mean, I guess it would just be.
Yeah, you gotta think that you gotta come with green chili though, or something. If it's papas fritas. And some queso fresco.
Wait, the Mexicanos or the
right.
Oh, not the French.
Oh yeah, no, they probably put like hollandaise on it or some shit. So
that I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. It's just if you're talking about your fries costing like fucking $12.50.
So no, I seen this guy. There's this big fat guy that I watch his cooking show. He's covered in tattoos, and he's like the most unhygienic dude. So he constantly sneezing and wiping his...
What the fuck?
Oh, dude, he's fucking hilarious, man. So, but he makes the most amazing food. And he's from Canada, but he's actually, like, I think he's in the United States. But he was making, what's that... Poutine. He was making poutine.
Poutine, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, fuck, I gotta try that. So, but apparently there's a very specific cheese curd you gotta get from Wisconsin.
Yeah? I've had it.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is it any good? I mean, I imagine it looks about, like, I mean, it tastes about what it looks like. So
I liked it. Yeah. No, I had a friend of mine and his girlfriend at the time, they went to Wisconsin. They went and actually got the cheese curds, and then they found that they would deliver. So I got to try it that way.
The cheese curds?
Yeah, they would ship to Colorado, so I got to try it that way. I mean, it's good, but I mean, dude, this is one of those. I'm going to put a blindfold on you. Right, and say, you decide what's the difference between a Wisconsin cheese curd and any other kind of cheese curd.
Oh, I couldn't do it, man. Right. They taste delicious to me regardless.
Yeah,
I get them so infrequently. So
that's kind of where I am with that. Was like, oh, this is good, but it's not like I would, denounce any other cheese curd and forswear it.
Right. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've actually even had them. So.
But it is what it is, man. It's like there are people who are like, I can't tell the difference between Papa John's and Famous Ray's in Manhattan. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, man, yeah. Ray's Pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been a long time. I don't know, man. So Borriello Brothers out here did a pretty good New York pie for a while, until the one over here started on fire.
Do you think that was actually fire or?
It might have been Jewish fire, or what is that? Jewish lightning?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. So, but
Very Hasidic, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Borriello brothers don't really strike me as being
No, but they might know some.
of the tribe,
Right, but they might know some.
So yeah, they might.
Their insurers might be.
They're bankers.
Yeah.
So
I can't pay you. It's like an idea I have.
Right.
What are we talking about?
I don't know, man. So the show just keeps going off the rails. You know, but I did listen to a couple of the back episodes. God damn, they make me laugh sometimes, man.
What were you laughing at?
So I can't even remember what it was specifically the other night. We were arguing about something.
Like arguing, or was this one of our benign?
No, it's one of the benign bullshit arguments that we usually have. I can't even remember. So, no, not like you and Will the other night. So it's just not going to see eye to eye on that one. You're not going to bring him around.
No, no. The man has no integrity.
He doesn't show up, so we get to bag it out.
Yeah. That's Will. If you're listening right now, you know the rule.
Yeah, that's right. You got to be.
You know
there,
what
man.
we talked about. Yeah. Be present.
I'm watching my kids, guys.
Well, that sounds like a personal problem.
Right?
Yeah.
Like complaining on your part.
I love to see Will like pop in right now. Just like turn on and say I spent fucking $49 to get somebody to babysit at the last minute so I can come in here and set your stupid ass straight. Yeah.
Fortunately, we're not live.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That was problematic. So.
Yeah, it might not be in the future. I don't know. This seems to work pretty good.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. So
it also, I mean, it uploads like super quick too.
Yeah, yours upload way faster than mine do.
Oh, for what I'm paying for? Jesus.
Oh, for your internet? How much you pay for your internet?
It's $120.
$120?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Says who?
Says me. I pay about what is mine? Mine's 92. So, and I got shit-tacular internet. So, actually, I think mine's up to $104. So, $16 upgrade sounds pretty good. So,
$104?
Yeah.
For what you got?
Yeah.
Is it the only game over there, or what?
It kind of is. So, I mean, the other one is Comcast. So
that's what I'm dealing with.
Well, yeah, I think I might actually have to go back to them. But I've been talking about that for years. So, I don't know.
Well, it depends on what you use, you know. Has it impacted your quality of life?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So, well, I mean, shit, half the time I use T-Mobile, man. So, like, I mean, I never connect my phone to my fucking Wi-Fi anymore.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, you know, we got unlimited data, so... And I heard that they're building the 5G towers, so...
they're already in place.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, not near my house.
Really?
Yeah, really. So, we are on the, what is it, the azimuth? So, underneath the horizon. Seriously, the tower's up there. So, we're on the wrong side of the hill.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
Because otherwise I'd have that internet in a box from T-Mobile. So.
Yeah, I'm on the wait list for that, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I might switch. But when it becomes available. More so anything that stops me from having to do business with Comcast.
Well, that's why I've always avoided that, too. I remember they boiled my frog for years. And years.
They did what?
So every single year they would raise up the rates. So, you know, for like 8 years straight until I was like, what the fuck am I paying for? You know? So, but it was one of those things where it's just like, oh, hey, you know, we're going to do some service upgrades in your neighborhood, and so that's going to come with a $10 neighborhood fee, blah, blah, blah.
They get you for street repairs?
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, you know, the community chest is getting a little low. And so...
How much per house?
Yeah. And so when we got out of that last house where we actually had Comcast, then we got this house, and then they had CenturyLink there.
Oh, yeah.
Shitty DSLs, but, you know... Like, I wasn't doing anything. I mean, it streams just fine. So, you know, there's no issues with that. It's just my fucking videos take, like, 9 hours to upload. So, because my upload speed is, like, 5 gigs. So, or 5 megabytes. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, that would be, you'd be setting records. No, I guess the biggest thing for you would be if you were into super competitive online gaming, Patrick, which I know you are not.
I can't do that, man. I don't have the Twitch reflexes anymore. So, I mean, even playing the Harry Potter game, I've gotten better at it just because I got off The Witcher lately. But, you know, like a first-person Twitch shooter, there's no fucking way I'd get wrecked. So, I need to be, like, specifically nerfed down for old people now. So, you know. So, like, you know.
You mean competitively, or?
Oh, no, just in general. Yeah. So, you know.
Well, the weird thing is, I know in a little bit of time here, you know, the new Street Fighter is going to be coming out, and I gave it some thought. I was contemplating, like, has my time passed me by? But, you know, there was I did make the commitment. I'm like, no, I'm going to give this one last run.
Yeah, go do it, man.
Give it one last run.
So, yeah, go drag sleds through the snow and stuff. And
fucking Ivan Drago did kill my close friend, you know, in the ring.
In the ring. Yeah. So
I could have thrown in the towel for him, but he told me not to.
Yeah, I know, man. So you got to avenge the creed. So
I have to.
Yeah.
Well, especially considering the last few outings that I had that ended in, I don't want to say a pathetic spot, but more so, like, I couldn't do it. I don't mean that in a bad way. It was just the biggest stint of 5 was when I was on the rig, and you can't play that on rig internet.
Rignet.
Yeah, and then, you know, when I got home, I would be so far behind, I would suck, I would you know, and then I would get mad, and I'd blame myself, and
right.
You know, it's only after a few years of solid, you know, therapy and medication that I think I can take this on again.
Yeah, I think you're ready, man. I
think so.
Yeah. He's dead and buried. You know?
Has to be, yeah.
Yeah. Someone's got to live on. Do the living for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So when's that supposed to drop?
I don't remember. Just in a little bit. They've been showing the like the developers' videos and stuff like that. So it's not too far around the corner.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited about that Cyberpunk thing, but I don't think it's supposed to come out till like August. So
August?
Yeah, I don't know. I was getting kind of conflicting stories on that one. Some people said April, but then there was a couple other folks that said that, you know, it's getting pushed back to August. So, and of course, CD Projekt Red doesn't say on their site. So
no. But you know what? I kind of respect that, because I would argue that it's better to not hype somebody up for a certain release date and just, you know, when it actually comes out and you're dead certain that, no, we've got this. This is fine. This will be out on this date. We're just, you know.
Well, in that game in particular.
Right. That is true.
One is famous for fucking trees that were blowing in hurricane weather when it was beautiful outside.
Fuck it. Yes.
T-posing on your motorcycle.
There was that, and there was a shitstorm that came about it.
Yeah.
A lot of jimmies got rustled about people not getting what they wanted. So I get it. My understanding is everybody that played it on consoles was really pissed because the performance was like dog shit.
The console performance was terrible. So.
But that wasn't my problem this time around.
No, I bought a PC specifically to avoid that issue, and have ever since. And so it's like, oh yeah, your Hogwarts game available on, you know, the newest generation of consoles. It's like, not my problem. So does it run on this? Oh, it runs beautifully. Great. Mm-hmm. So although I do have to say that it has. My machine has been matched, so it has been matched to the point in time. So playing Cyberpunk, I can turn on all the doodads, all the ray tracing, all the shit, and it looks great. This Hogwarts game, it chugs a little bit if you turn it all the way up, and so you actually turned off the ray tracing, and then it looked really kind of. It makes such a big difference in games that I actually toned down the other shit so I could turn that back on.
What's funny, I mean, You would think it wouldn't, but I mean, it's not. The problem, I mean, like if you took a static image and you put them side by side and you said, hey, can you look at these two things versus like the baked-in lighting?
Yeah.
Most people would be like, I don't know, what's the difference? Then you see it in motion and you see how it actually reacts to actual light sources, and you find that it's, you know, considerably more analogous to real life, right?
Well, it's great with anything where you can get a really big view of something. So, and that one you can fly. So, yeah, no, it's wonderful. So you don't get to fly until maybe about a quarter of the way through the game. But once you do, it's like, oh, fuck, I don't even, I'm not even going to bother with fast travel anymore. So,
okay, yeah.
It's just nice. So, what was the other game that I had that on? So, I think I loaded up Red Dead 2 maybe like a year ago.
Did they do an update for that or something?
I think they did. God, it was that game. Oh no, it was that and The Witcher. So, which is old enough now, but they've got the update with it. It's all ray traced out.
Yeah, because it's been a while since I played it through. Yeah,
yeah, it's beautiful. So, yeah. Gerald is stuck in Skellige, waiting for me to get done with Hogwarts at the moment.
He'll be there.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. So, but. No, other than that, there's a couple other like specialty games that are kind of on my horizon for the year.
Yeah, what's that?
Just war game stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, nothing too terribly exciting. But what's the other one? Star Citizen's supposed to come out.
Whenever it comes out now. I'll play it when it comes out.
Yeah, that's the Todd Howard one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You know that guy?
Fuck yeah! Dude, I've seen.
I wasn't aware you were familiar with Todd Howard.
Oh, I know Todd Howard. So not just from extra credits too. Is that guy that I watch that does all the not the speed running but the exploit gaming.
Yes.
So the what's his name? The Spiffing Brit. He's fantastic. He loves to bag on Todd Howard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, every character he makes in a game is, like, Hod Towered, or something like that.
Patrick, every now and then there's the like, you seem... All right. You're on the pulse with some things, but there are other things where it's like you have just been chipped out of a glacier, right? And that's... I don't mean that in any way. You have this attitude of, like... It's unimportant, so I don't dip my toe in there. Yeah. So every now and then, I'm so freaking shocked when you say things. I'm like, how do you know what shit posting is? How do you know what?
Shit posting is pretty easy. What's the one that you corrected on me a couple of weeks ago? There was something that we were banging on about. It was some kind of Twitter tactic you were telling me about. I can't remember. Oh no, William and I were both clueless, and you were trying to explain like terminology of the modern internet to us.
There was that, and I think the other thing was you thought like CalArt's art style was something that it wasn't.
You were right about that.
That was something else.
Yeah. Although I did look into that. The studio that was doing Velma was actually broken off of the one that did Venture Brothers. So
that would make sense, but that's not a CalArts.
No. But that's the animation studio. It wasn't like the creative team or anything like that. Yeah. So actually, it was interesting because I actually started poking into like South Korean animation studios.
Oh,
so all the sites are in Korean. So
you can press the translate button.
You can press the translate button, but some words just apparently don't translate very well.
It's
so. There was a lot of funk on that page that I wasn't looking for that. So, but anyway, because they were all part of the whole, what was it, the Viacom buyout or something like that. And so they were still based. The guys who actually do all the animation for Venture Brothers were domestic. They were actually unionized. It was one of the only unionized shops. And then I guess it's when they went over to HBO. So HBO immediately says, take a couple of your best guys and send them to Korea now.
I swear to God, man, that David Zaslav has... I don't know if there's just it's a gene that you and he share, or like you both have read from the same like vile business playbook. But just like the first answer I would see you see is like you would look at the numbers and say, I can fix this.
Right. So here's your problem. You're spending more than you're bringing in. That means it's layoff time. So he can have, what did he offer? So what the fuck was it? What was the alternative to the dental plan?
Oh, it was a keg of beer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. A keg of free beer. That's right. And they're all standing in line. So that's when you get penciled. Mm-hmm. So I did go watch that South Park episode. It wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be.
It's not, but there's a couple of parts that are funny. But
the trash can lid was pretty funny.
That killed me.
I was kind of waiting for it. So yeah,
I know.
So it was funny. I was watching it, and Pam came downstairs. She was doing either laundry or something like that. And she got to see the scene where they're carrying the queen, and she's all like croaked out in the casket. Oh. She just laughed. It's like, put a lid on that.
Well, I mean, I did see something today that kind of, got that point across. It was like, it took Harry and Meghan like 6 months on the Oprah tour and a documentary on Netflix to get their point across, and South Park made their point in 20 seconds. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And corrected the narrative in 20 seconds. I'm like, okay, yeah, see, that's kind of how this goes.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they're kind of professionals at it too at this point in time.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't. People are talking about it like this is their like the coup de grace. This is their moment. I'm like,
oh my god, they've had so many different moments, man. So I mean
the fact that Scientology is what it is right now is largely due.
I know, to those two guys.
I'm not downplaying the efforts of so many people that stood out and spoke out and that kind of thing, but it helps when somebody really kicks the front door in.
We're going to sue you. Do it. Yeah, we're right here. Fuck you.
Sue me.
Right here, buddy.
Of course, every name in the credit is John and Jane Smith afterwards, though. But
oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So... Oh, I forgot about that. Oh man, those guys are so good at that shit. So,
but yeah, once you like kick the door and then you walk away and say like, "Go loot the place, guys." They're
the first ones to do that to Kanye too.
Well, they made fun of him.
Yeah, but it was kind of one of those like that's a hard jab that they threw at him. So on that one, it was like, "Why don't you get it, man? Just get it."
I don't know. I thought they were just like making fun of the guy. Like they were making fun of the. There are certain. Oh, Patrick. Okay, I don't want to do this. Okay, so I'm just going to say this. Like, there are certain people that objectively would come across as fucking idiots, right? But. All right, I just got.
They went after Rob Ryder too first.
Yes, they did. No, and that dude's still doing his thing, but yeah, there are people out there that
all they did was eat hamburgers.
There are people that would generally come across as idiots if looked at any kind of objective measure, but because of certain cultural protections they're afforded,
right.
It becomes certainly. You have to acknowledge their genius.
Right, Trey and Matt Parker, yeah.
Well, and that's so in Kanye's case, there was a certain part of where if you weren't praising this, it's like, why don't you think it's genius? Like, I don't know. I don't.
That's right.
And so, so I thought that was a little bit more of a strike against. The perception that was presented as absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And this is not to say...
Look, they've done that a couple times. I think the only time they screwed up was when they made Mr. Garrison into Donald Trump. So, and then they just dropped that after a while. They kind of walked away from it. They said, fuck it. So...
Well, I mean, they've come clean. They said this wasn't supposed to happen. We built ourselves into a corner.
Right, yeah.
And it happened because he won.
Because he won, yeah. So, but I mean, they done so much with that character. I didn't realize that at the time they were poking at the trans issue back in like 2003.
Yep.
So, there was this episode that I saw a while ago, and then I saw an article about it the other day, where it was kind of talking about this, and I totally remember the entire episode. It's the one where not only do they show the actual surgery, but then there's a follow-up episode behind that where Mr. Garrison insists on having an abortion.
Yeah. That's been making the rounds again, too, yeah.
That one's been making the rounds? Okay.
Yeah.
So I did see that pop up in an article. But I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, fuck yeah, that was a long time ago. So they were way ahead on that issue. So, and then they did roast Caitlyn Jenner pretty good. So
they did.
She almost became kind of endearing. Buckle up, Bucker. Just running over people. Yeah.
And everybody was just so stunning and brave.
Yeah, so brave.
Look, and again, I made the point that I'll make it again right now. I was like, when fucking every outlet and everything was all over Caitlyn Jenner, right? Mm-hmm. Just for the bravery. I was like, no, this is some bullshit. I was like, I'm going to tell you who were brave. It was the fucking drag queens and the people who were getting the shit kicked out of them.
Sure.
Back in the day. This is a high-profile person that is getting ass pats from every, outlet that can.
Yeah.
And you've made this the avatar of people who actually, kind of suffer through this. I'm like, you guys can fuck off with this. Because that was the point where... they named Caitlyn just like sports person of the year.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Like, for what?
Yeah. She was like 62 or something, yeah.
It's like, did she shot put this year? Like,
can she join a swim team?
Exactly, yeah. Right. Can she dunk from the free throw line?
Right, yeah.
Okay, this is what we're doing, right?
That's right, I do remember that. So... Well, and then she became persona non grata, which was kind of like, it was like, oh wait, it's like Bruce Jenner always voted Republican, and now Caitlyn Jenner is no different because it's the same person,
right?
So yeah, oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, she dropped off the radar real fast after that. So
well, and that was the tricky thing was they were like, oh well, so now that you've done this, certainly you agree with these issues. No, why would I?
I'm a Republican.
Wait, what are you saying? Are you saying that on the sheer grounds of this surgery of mine and how I identify, all of my views would change?
Right.
Because of surgery?
Right.
Right.
Well, I mean that's the whole point. Everything about identity is just it's just politics. So,
Patrick,
it's just politics.
The vitriol and the
you got to be politically black.
Well, I mean that's what I'm saying. The name calling that I've seen for blacks that do not agree with the standard black line. That racism kind of puts my racism to shame.
You're not a racist, Jeff. You just play one on TV.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's you're absolutely right. Because they mean it.
Right? No, they actually mean it. No, I've seen some of that. There's a couple of black guys that I listen to who are definitely on the right hand side of things. So, and they talk about it all the time. So, just absolutely is like. They'll just run through all the epitaphs and all the accusations of race traitor and everything, stuff like that. It's like, you know what? So, when it comes down to it, I'm not going to deny what my eyes tell me, okay? And just, I can see the statistics on black crime. So, why does that make me a race traitor? So, Caitlyn Jenner probably ran the same thing. I don't really know.
Guarantee it.
I don't really know. She kind of fell off the radar after she dropped that whole run for governor thing. So that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I think that was also deliberate. I think she deliberately tried to distance herself from the political field a bit too.
Yeah. So,
well, what are you going to do? Like, when you show up at something and the lunatic fringe of trans advocates come to basically, harangue you every time that you appear. Like, I don't know, I wouldn't put up with it.
Right. Oh, yeah, no, not even a little bit. So, I haven't listened to that J.K. Rowling podcast yet. I kind of want to. I don't remember who's doing that.
No, neither. I've seen some choice quotes before, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's why I want to listen to it. I've seen a couple of those, too.
I don't give a fuck about my life.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's like, obviously you care about it more than I do. So, I'd rather help the living.
Right. It's like, how many times are you guys going to let her just dunk on you and put you in your place before you say, wait a minute. Fucking, we are the guys with the skulls on our caps. We're not the good guys.
We're not the good guys.
Jesus Christ, man.
How'd this armband get here?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you turn these inside out. So, this has been used, man. Yeah.
I swear to God, man. It's like, are you actually listening to? Do you hear what she's saying? And like, no, and I'm talking about that group. I was like, are you paying any attention to what she's actually saying, or did something come out the way that you don't like, and you've decided that this person is the reincarnation of 29 mega Hitlers?
Every article that has anything to do with Gaming Lit, except for one that I've read, in the first paragraph, it has to remember her. It must. It's like mandatory. It's like a Hail Mary, So in church now, it's just one of those things where you must mention her rampant and disgusting trans and homophobia. Yeah,
like, Jesus Christ.
So, and it's like, man, you got. It's like. She even had that tweet where she was like, please show me the tweet where I said that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think you've said that. It's like, well, you can search them. I'll wait. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just like, I'm sorry, your facts do not conform to your worldview. So which one of these two things is more important? Obviously, we know which one is more important to you. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, and this is where the great betrayal comes in. This is where Twitter has been awfully deflated lately because of this. Because there's a group of people who, because companies capitulate, right? They've been used to being able to throw their weight around and say, all right, well, we can impact these changes, right? And then Hogwarts Legacy goes out there and sells $1 billion worth of game in 2 weeks.
Fucking almost single-handedly saves fucking Warner Brothers.
Yeah, and this was on the top of everybody saying, it's like, no, we have boycotts going. No, we're doing this. Blah 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 blah. It put not a single dent.
Wow.
Right.
It's like trying to boycott the interstate. Everybody's just like, get the fuck out of the way,
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like, if you can find me the side street that goes from fucking Pueblo to Denver, good luck. And if you want to go there at 35, have fun. But yeah, you're right. Or you can walk. But yeah, that's a good point. It's like, but all these people kept driving, and then that's what the point was. Everybody was ignoring you from the beginning. Yeah. You had no power here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, a lot of people were just running scared, too. I mean, I work at a college, and so there was times where I was kind of like, okay, let's see how bad it gets. Now, I never saw it that much, but it was obviously in the back of my mind, and I know some of my colleagues, particularly in other schools, it was like, oh, you've all got to have your pronouns up on your emails now. And stuff, got it, and so there was a bit of a browbeating going on there for a bit, but I think just enough people collectively said, fuck off, that now it's kind of like there's a little bit more safety in numbers, on the side of, like, just chill out with that stuff. Nobody's telling you can't do that. Nobody's going to try and tear you down because you decide to do that. It's like, just, fucking put down the signs, it's cool. Just be cool, and we'll be cool together,
Well, you know what? And I think it had more to do. You're absolutely right. This had more to do with that brain defect that I've admitted to, where, and I've said this to William. I'll say it publicly now. Ask me to do anything, and you have a 99% chance of getting a pleasant, compliant response.
Right, yeah.
Demand that I do something, and, well, okay, so your trench is over there, mine's here, right? We're going to be lobbing grenades over this hill for a long time because, you know...
Yeah, you better have more
You
than
made
me.
this a fight.
Yeah.
You ordered me to do something that does not have a basis in reality. But the same thing, any person says... Could you call me this?
Absolutely, no problem.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem.
I demand that you call me this. You what?
Okay, Caitlin. So, do I need to use a pronoun? Oh, we have this other thing in the English language called a proper noun. How about I'll just use that?
Oh no! From this point on, you are you're just basically you're designated by your genus species, Homo sapien.
Species. Yeah.
So get the fuck out of here with that. It's like, what are you gonna do? What, you want to arm wrestle? It's like, how are you gonna stop me?
Yeah.
I don't answer to anybody now.
Oh yeah, no, you in particular.
Fucking, it's amazing. At this point, this is great. Since I have, like, so many of my students are in New York and Colorado. Or not Colorado, but New York and California. Right? Every now and then, what's great is I get them to take the hood off. I get them to take the mask off that the school makes them wear. Right? And you just kind of poke around it, and then they're like, I got something to say about that. I'm like, go ahead. The floor's all yours, brother. Yeah. It's like, you don't understand. You can't offend anybody here. I want you to speak your mind.
Yeah. No.
And they'll just say, like, look, this is ridiculous. This is stupid. I feel like we're placating children.
Yep.
Right? It's the best thing I can do, like in this case, is imagine that you have a whole society of people that are screaming at you because you're actually... But Santa Claus isn't real. Right? He's real to me.
Yeah.
You have to say he's real. Well, I know he's not.
Right.
I know he's not.
Right, yeah.
But you're demanding that I say he is?
Yeah, no, that doesn't work. So.
Because then the question is, or else what?
Or, well, yeah.
Who's going to make me?
Right, exactly.
Who's going to make me?
Watch out, moneybags.
Right?
Yeah. No, I got you, man.
You better be packing something bigger than a grocery bag, because right now you do not have the physical presence to bully me.
Right.
Because normally the way that this used to work was, all right, so if I do that, your job is then to kind of bend me over and make me eat dirt. Right,
yeah.
And then you're going to say, like...
Stop hitting yourself.
You're supposed to say, like, so how is Santa Claus? Is he alive? Is he alive?
No.
And then through a mouthful of dirt, I'm eventually going to have to say yes. That is that is saying uncle.
Uncle. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
But you can't bully people when you're on estrogen treatments.
No. I don't know, man. I did do a little reading on some of that stuff. Some of it was actually kind of scary. So,
in what way?
Oh, just I didn't know the whole thing about Planned Parenthood. So, and how they were basically, there's a lot of states where they have laws protecting, clinics like that, so that they can't tell your parents.
Yeah.
Because if you go in there when you're 14 to get an abortion, fair, okay,
which is fine by me. Yeah.
But I mean, that's one of those areas where the law was intended for something else, but found a handy use elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was kind of like, okay, and so what is it? There's like 22 states now that are like closing that loophole rapidly.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
A lot of places are shutting doors on two things. Yeah. Three things really. Number one, the whole. Educators can't tell parents about this. So, like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
They're getting rid of that. They are getting rid of the.
They're getting rid of that here even. So.
Which they're getting rid of fucking underage drag shows and.
I'm not convinced there were that many of those. So
all I can tell you is like. If that exists, get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly.
People can go. I certainly have no problem with that.
You can take your kid to one. Go. Don't bring it to the kids. So
yeah.
That's the Mr. Slate argument. Do what you want. Just leave the kids alone. So yeah.
No, I mean, no matter how you apply it, it's like it is basically exposing hypersexualization to children, which I can tell you has negative impacts.
Sure.
If you want me to go run and grab you a stack of studies, I can do that, but it's fine. We all know it.
There's no reason why that stuff doesn't come into the classroom until, what, 6th grade, 7th grade anymore? So
if that. Yeah.
I think it does.
I mean, like, just a brief introduction, but not...
Oh, no, not like, yo, this is, not like the shit that you see later in high school or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So...
Because anytime that you're going to come across, like... this kid is, a sex pest, or he's, causing trouble, right? You can almost uniformly get down to it and say, okay, when were you exposed to this? Like,
sure.
At a very early age.
Right.
No shit.
Yeah. This makes sense. So, did you torture animals as well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You went in the
Did you start fires? Check. Okay. This one needs to be tagged and released.
Yeah.
We're going to check up on you regularly. So, yeah.
You got to, man. You got to go out there, and it's somebody's job to go out there and say, like, all right, I did count. 25 are out there. I counted 25. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of a rough thing. So there, a lot of states are clamping down on that, and again, I have no problem with that. Again,
well, it's not just states. There's individual districts that are doing it now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, it'll be a very, very rare thing if that actually, if you actually have a school that participates in any of those programs in the future. So I'm sure you'll have a few here and there, but yeah. I don't know, man. There's a lot of this shit that's just jumping the shark as we speak. So I don't think it would go completely away, though. So
that's not how the pendulum is supposed to work.
Right,
the
yeah.
Pendulum, this is, I made this case a long time ago. I'm going to make it again, right? Mm-hmm. The gay pride rallies that they used to do had a purpose where you had to basically push the limits to get people to pull the window back and say, like, you know what, that's fine. I don't want those guys in my neighborhood, but you guys over here,
yeah, you guys are fun.
You guys are great.
Yeah.
Right? You guys can come over anytime. So you have to push it a little bit, and that's how the pendulum works. You get a little bit by coming all the way. Theoretically, right, if society had a little bit of moderation, you wouldn't have to push it so far to get to that point. But we have a long history of doing that here in the States, man.
Yeah, we really do. So, and there's a lot of folks banging the drum right now about how bad it is and how divided we are and blah, blah, blah. And so, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene the other day was calling for that divorce thing. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
So,
other people were calling for it before her on the Democratic side, so I don't know.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Stupid.
It's whether or not we kick you out, Texas, kind of thing. Yeah. So,
But this is not new rhetoric.
No, it's not new rhetoric.
Repackaged in an idiotic white coat, yes.
Yeah, but it's like, so 2 years ago, there were a bunch of American cities that were on fire, okay, but it wasn't like it was in 1968. So not even close, And I mean, even the 1960s were like basically a pretty gusty fart compared to what was going on in the progressive era. So we're like, even here in town, you had mining towns where they called the military in to go murder everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
There's,
so let alone the war,
There's that.
The big one. Yeah. So, it's just not that bad, man. It's just like everything that you see anymore, It's like car crash. You get a car crash along the side of the road, so people want to look at it. Nowadays, people stop and they pick up pieces of the wreckage and just use them as weapons to throw against their political enemies. They don't even know what fucking happened. So that's that train derailment, man. I read up on that.
I was going to say, all right, let's straighten the record. You have a unique perspective on which to speak about this with expertise.
Yes.
All right, set the record straight about the train derailment. What's the story?
So everything happened basically how it was supposed to. You haven't heard that story, have you?
Go on. I demand more information. Okay, that's just not going to work.
So the NTSB came out with their preliminary report tomorrow, which was only 4 pages. So, but usually the preliminary report is a good summary of the bigger one that they'll do, because they still have to do some accident investigation and stuff like that. But just looking at the photos, I can tell you exactly what happened. So it was a hot box. So a rail car is a really simple piece of machinery. It's just 3 pieces, basically. You have the wheels, and then you have what are called trucks, which hold the wheels together, and then the car sits on top of those. That's it. Okay? So the wheels are a single cast piece. The wheels and the axle, everything is really high-grade steel. And so the only point of contact that it has with the car is that thing called a roller bearing, which just sits on the end of the axle, and then it spins. It's packed with grease and fucking ball bearings.
Ball bearings.
Okay. Yeah. This is the part that's designed to fail. Okay, so everything else on the car. So like the car itself, these fucking tank cars, they're so structurally sound, and they got crush caps on either end. So if they bonk into each other, it doesn't affect the whatever's inside of them and stuff. But it's like a beer can. If you take a beer can that's empty, it's easy to crush. But if you have a full one and shake it up a little bit, it's really structurally sound. Mm-hmm. So everything on the car is designed, to withstand a wreck, except for the one thing that wears out, which is this ball bearing, which is this wheel bearing. And so they wear out all the time, every fucking day. Okay. Hundreds of thousands of rail cars. The way that they find out whether or not a wheel bearing is bad is they roll by what's called a hot box detector. Okay, it's just a thermometer that takes a look. It's just so
it's just gauging friction.
That's all it's looking for.
Okay,
yeah,
and that's generating heat.
Yeah, if you've got one that's too hot, stop the train. You set the car out, or you call a carman out to come and swap it. Usually it takes like an hour or two. But usually you just set the car out and then go. That means you put it off on a sidetrack and just take the rest of the train and GTFO, right? Okay. So you go by these things and it'll read out, like if you have one that's bad, all right, it'll say defect detected, 16 axles deep or something, because it counts the axles. Oh, okay. And it'll say stop your train, stop your train, stop your train. Okay, so it radios you. All right. So it went by one. So this train went by one. And, nothing, it didn't go off, and it went by another one, didn't go off. But it does do readings on these, but it doesn't tell the engineer to stop the train unless it's outside of the tolerance. And so it went by 3, where you could see in the report where, this is the detailed report, which they have to download from the fucking thing, okay, where it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and then finally it gets outside of the tolerance, rolls past another one, it says stop your train, engineer stops the train. Okay, so this is exactly what you're supposed to do, all right? Okay. You don't throw it in emergency, you don't slam on the brakes, you try and stop it safely, and everything like that. But, so on a cold day like that, one of the things that can happen is the rail gets real cold. And when rail gets cold, it gets brittle. And see, the problem with these wheel bearings, the problems with the roller bearings and the wheels in particular, is if the roller bearing seizes, it basically melts. Okay. Then the wheel stops turning, okay, and it turns into a skid. Right. And so you get flat spots, and this is just basically skidding the wheel, which puts an enormous amount of pressure on the rail. Okay, because normally the rail is just supposed to bounce with the cars a little bit. Yeah. But if it's just driving it into the ground, you build up all this pressure, and eventually the clips pop. So, and the rail comes out of gauge, and everything goes fucking, tits up. So, that's exactly what happens. I can see the exact picture where that happens, where you see the rail splits open like this, and all the cars behind it just crush into each other. So, I've been to accidents like that. So, very easy to identify. So the engineer and the conductor, they get off, all right, so they see smoke, they say, okay, we're in the dirt, all right, so, and they're looking at, so you pull out what's known as their wheel, which is basically just a report of the cars that they have. They see that, oh shit, we got all this hazmat, that's about, 20 cars deep.
But they would have known that before the train took off.
You would, but you wouldn't really pay attention to it. It's not a big deal, okay?
No, but it is standard procedure for them to review what is.
Yeah, you go over it a little bit, but you don't care, so, I mean, it's not like an airplane, so where you have to keep certain types of cargo away from each other.
Merida, the car does that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think there's some exceptions to that rule, but that wouldn't be the train crew's responsibility. That'd be the yardmaster who made up the train. So, So anyway, they see that there's some hazmat, and they had some gnarly hazmat on there. So they had vinyl chloride, which is probably one of the 3 most dangerous chemicals that they carry on railroads. So the other one being anhydrous ammonia, which is basically...
Oh, that's fertilizer explosive, right?
It's not explosive. It's actually the gas that they used in order to make the fertilizer.
Oh.
Okay. It's also a precursor for meth. So...
That stuff? Oh.
And it's...
I'm learning so much today.
Oh, dude, this stuff is so gnarly. I mean, it is... It's like it has to be pressurized in order to transport it, and it's like when it gets released, it expands like 800 fucking times. Okay. And all it does is combine with any form of water. So if you get it on your hand, it literally melts your hand. So it is...
Fuck.
Yeah, it is fucking gnarly shit. But, it's hands down the best fertilizer in the world. And so it's responsible for... And those cars go everywhere. So that's... And the other really bad one is chlorine gas. So... Which they use to, do water for purification. So, I mean, that's basically like... If a car that ruptures, it's literally mustard gas. But vinyl chloride is really dangerous because it can turn into phosgene, okay? So, which is another, trench warfare type gas, right?
Oh, okay.
But it's really important because they use it to make PVC pipe. But it's extremely flammable. So, and I remember that. So, I actually went and I busted out my old, I actually have an accident prevention and investigation manual, and so it's got disaster response in there. They did exactly everything they were supposed to do.
That's what you said, yeah.
They did fucking exactly everything.
This immediately, yeah.
Yeah, no, they came in, they secured, so there was one car that was on fire. That one was not hazardous, okay, so it was full of plastic pellets, okay, so not a big deal. That was the one that initially derailed, so...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the explosion that you see, that everyone's like, oh my god, that's the controlled explosion. They actually did that on purpose. So, but what you do in a situation like that is you get 2 big-ass excavators and you dig trenches along the sides of the rails, and then you start releasing the gas because it's heavier than air, it goes in the trenches, and then you can flare it off. So, this is exactly, they did everything they're supposed to do.
All right, so with that information, okay, the popular theories on how this would have prevented is this fucking garbage.
They're so bullshit, man. They make my piss boil. It is all terrible, man. Every take that I've seen, with only a couple exceptions, is complete and utter fucking horseshit. So this whole thing is like, oh, the railroad was trying to save a lot of money, blah blah. They lose money on these fucking shipments. The Surface Transportation Board makes the railroad take them because you can't put that shit on the fucking interstate. So,
and as we discussed, certainly not an airplane.
Certainly not an airplane. No, you don't want to put it on a barge either, because then it goes right in the water supply. I mean, they do, all right? So, to be fair, they do ship some of this stuff by truck, but it's limited in size. It's limited to like a tenth of one tank car.
Oh, right.
So, yeah,
right.
And it has to, like the thing with anhydrous is they do have to run it on rural roads and stuff. And when you were up in farm country, you probably saw this sometimes. There'd be a tractor that would be going 15 miles an hour. Okay, and it had a tank behind it. That's anhydrous. They are not allowed to go that fast. Okay, so if you're going to ship anything, the Surface Transportation Board's like, no, it goes by fucking rail. And so the railroads for years have been saying, no, we don't want to fucking ship this shit. It's humongous liability, and they're all self-insured. Okay, and then so the DOT kicks in a little bit of additional insurance, for disaster mitigation and prevention. But, if I'm Joe Blow in Idaho and I decide to open a PVC plant, okay, and I get my congressman or my city council to sign off, but guess who's got to ship that fucking vinyl chloride to me? So that's the only way I can get it. And so everybody's been banging on the railroad about this, and they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're going to go in there, they're going to buy houses in the area, they're going to fucking raise them to the ground, okay? So they're going to move people out of there, so they're going to be... There was one take that I saw, was oh, well, it's the same fucking company that they use, to actually do their other investigations. I was like, fuck yeah, it is. It's an independent contractor. So they're auditable, you idiots. This is making me mad, man. And then the whole thing, all right, so the other thing, okay, so it's coming from both sides. the right-hand side, the right side of the spectrum is using this as a stick to hit Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden with. They have nothing to fucking do with it. Okay? Pete Buttigieg has nothing to do with this shit. Okay? So he is, like, literally, it'd be like, oh, shit, you know, like, fucking, you know, we're trying to save Private Ryan over here, and we need to get him in time. So fucking that's General Eisenhower's fault. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, that would be like saying that. Well, you're the president, right? It's like, well, this happened under your watch,
right?
What happened? It's like, you know, a kid, you know, brought a bomb to school. It's like, you should be there.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's a big country, man. Like, yeah, it's technically under my watch, but no.
But I mean, so if NTSB shows up, which they did almost immediately, all right, and they saw Norfolk Southern fucking it up, then yeah, call that guy.
Yeah.
But they were doing exactly what they were supposed to do, and so I'm sure they, you know, Pete Buttigieg probably had a call. Hey, what's going on? They're like, hey, we got it under control, boss. You know, and they did. You know, so you know, and then okay, so the other side is the Donald Trump thing. This is also horseshit. So you know, where they're like, oh well, the Trump administration rolled back some regulations, blah blah blah, that were related to what's called electronic pneumatic braking.
Yeah.
So all trains are pneumatically brake. They all brake using, you know, basically a train line, and if it vacates, it turns into a vacuum that sets all the brakes. Okay. So it's really safe system. It's been around since the fucking Civil War. It's that good. Okay. So there's no reason to absolutely improve it. So electronic control braking, so basically sets off all the brakes at the same time rather than waiting for a train line. You're talking about a difference of about like 5 seconds. Okay? All right? Now that's great, all right, if you're running a passenger train. Okay? So that the whole system was designed for oil trains because the Keystone Project. And they were like, okay, so, you know, we're running these really heavy full trains that are fucking full of crude petroleum. Okay, so yeah, 5 seconds on a 150-car train is a pretty big fucking deal. Okay, but they didn't design it for this train. Okay, this train's just a manifest mixed up of fucking everything. So the ECB system is designed for unit trains, not entire fucking trains that are made up in yards. So this is one of those things where I have not seen anybody explain that properly. So, you know.
I saw one guy explain it properly.
Oh, yeah? Who's that?
He was a guy that had a job like yours, and his entire audience was 5 people in Yahoo comments.
Yep.
And I think he said it exactly as you did. He said, like, this is horse shit. This is... And he said it's sort of like you did. I didn't fully understand it. You explained it better.
Oh, okay.
But he was doing this in response to... I think the way he said it was, eventually these trains will be changed to that system.
Yeah.
As it becomes necessary. Basically, he said it would be like an upgrade as you go sort of system. He's like, but this has nothing to do with what happened in this particular case.
It has nothing to do with it. In fact, they applied the brake almost immediately. So because it yells at you, the fucking thing radios you and says, stop your train, stop your train, stop your train. And you're like, fuck. You know, because it almost never happens. I mean, you can do 10 years running trains around and it never happens.
It never happens. But okay, and you would get fucked up if basically you ignored that for whatever reason, yes?
That would be bad. Yeah, you get fucked up. So
I mean, and that was the thing, because then the other component is, okay, well, if you do understand that if this was such a big deal, you realize that the guy that did this was not in charge anymore.
No.
And if it was a big deal, you would have switched it.
Yeah.
You're in charge now.
Yeah.
Right, which is where this is absurd.
No, and so like the whole thing was, all right, so the Obama administration in like fucking 2013 said, hey, you know what, it'd be good if we could switch this eventually because of the oil trains in particular, because there was a really bad accident in Canada like about that time where like there were there was a whole bunch of oil cars because they do oil sands up there, and so it's really gnarly shit.
Yeah.
So you have to ship it in that, but there's only 2 ways out of Canada. So right, so there's the east way and the west way. And so somewhere back east, they had a train that was, you know, full of this fucking tar sands, oil, which is really sludgy, nasty shit.
It's not great.
No. So, but anyway, so like there was a train where a guy. This was a human factor thing where he was supposed to tie it down. He didn't tie enough cars down, which is where you apply the handbrakes.
Okay. Yeah.
And it started rolling while nobody was looking. And it plowed through a little town and derailed like 30 cars. And there's just this lake of fucking fire consumed this town and killed like 50 people. Okay. So they were like, you know what, ECB would be a good idea on these trains. And so they said, okay, so here's what we want you to do. It's like, okay, so this isn't a rule, this is guidance. Okay, so, but we're going to make it a rule over the course of the next 10 years. Okay? Great. So no problem. All right. And so several of the companies, including Norfolk Southern, started like testing some of these systems and shit like that. And so Obama gets out of office. Trump comes in. So Mitch McConnell is his wife is the new Secretary of Transportation. And so this thing comes up at its 5-year review, and they look at it and they say, oh, you know what? We don't run that many oil sands trains anymore.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, okay, so, you know, I mean, it'd be nice if we could do this, but, you know, can we extend that deadline? And, you know, the Trump administration was like, sure, okay, but then Donald Trump signs this thing about oil independence, and you might have remembered that. Mm-hmm. And then part of that was a review of all regulations that could impede that progress. So that one got chopped. So they were like, okay, so, you know, the cost benefit on it, it's not really that big a deal. So, you know, we're not running that many of these trains. So, you know, and we're also achieving oil independence. So fuck it, scratch that. So it wasn't like Donald Trump like wringing his hands like people are like fucking, you know, it's like, I'm going to go blow up parts of Ohio so I can get back in the office someday.
But because he wouldn't have known that, but this would be more like, you know, he's just angry right now because there's a seal or a duck that isn't coated with
Trump grade petroleum crude. That's the good stuff
over there. That's a duck that's thinking it's so nice to be clean, and I'm gonna fix that.
I'm gonna fix it.
You know, it's this.
It's absolute horseshit, and it makes me mad, man. Just because it's like, I've seen so many people. There's this like YouTube channel that I watch, and they do a pretty good job most of the time of actually putting together the news. They have completely fucked the dog on this one.
Really?
They have got it so wrong. They are like just banging on about like dropping these regulations, and you know, it's all about precision train scheduling and the fact that these cars were overloaded. It's like, motherfucker, you put. It's a tank car. You fill it, okay? You always fill it. You know? So, otherwise, it doesn't work. And so you can't overfill it. You know? So, and then it's just using it as a stick to hit the railroad with. And, you know, well, this is why Joe Biden shot down the worker protections last year, you know, when the rail strike was going to happen, and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, shut the fuck up. You guys, like... You're so off base on this, and you could go on. I can name 5 different websites on the internet where they'll sort you out on this shit, straight and narrow, 5 minutes flat. So,
but this is Patrick. This is my issue: is why is there such an aversion to just fucking ask someone?
I don't know, man. Everybody needs a hot take right off the bat, I guess, and so that's the car crash thing, man. So you pick up a piece of glass, you're gonna throw it at your enemy, rather than trying like, oh, what happened here, you know? So nobody takes the time to sit and think. They just happen to do something that I know something about, and so it's like, okay.
Oh, dude, all right, so you can understand where William and I were sitting when there was so much talk about. Like when the gas prices, and a lot of people were throwing out their suppositions about, you know, how the oil industry works, and and Will, fortunately, he's magnanimous about these things. He's just like, yeah, these people are done. But I'm sitting there listening to these people talk about like who's responsible, blah 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 blah. Right. I'm like, guys, I'm like, just ask something. Just ask anybody. Just ask anybody. About how this thing's work. I remember there was I think there was a problem they were talking about with like hazing in the industry, right, or something like that. I'm like, yep, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Like, sorry, it's like there are no girls here.
Yeah,
no women can do that job.
Yeah,
they would hire you if you could.
Yeah, so. No, you were always my oil guy. I remember you telling me when the Saudis were fucking with us. You were spot on.
That could have been a problem. Yeah, that could have been a problem. And it is interesting to see who has weight. I mean, frankly, the thing that always concerns me is right now we are doing business with Venezuela. I'm like, why?
Why are we? We're not importing from them, are we?
I'm going to have to go look at the full details on this, but basically I saw some information that the Biden administration was working with Venezuela to procure product.
I thought that was for Europe, though. So
they shouldn't be getting it from Venezuela either.
Yeah, no.
Well, no one should.
Well, yeah. I guess, like, when your choices are there or Russia.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, look, frankly, the answer is, the correct answer, Patrick, is to say, we know Americans who say, yeah. It's like, those guys have a crap ton of oil that they can get. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you think if they managed to stop being pussies for 2 seconds, they could ramp up production?
Yeah.
And because I guarantee you there are... For how much it's picked up recently, I guarantee you there are a team of dudes, speculators, just waiting to be at the moment where it's like, yes, this will be profitable. I can put together teams this afternoon, and we will fucking fuck this ground until oil comes out if people are going to buy it, right?
Yeah.
Like, we will. That's what.
We're gonna drain snake this motherfucker.
Yeah, that's what we. That's what me and Bill nicknamed the new Baker Hughes drill bit was the Earth Fucker 6.
Earth Fucker 6. See, you're not really helping the cause when you name shit like that. So
well, they put out a contest. They said
okay.
we are looking for a new name, and we're like, want to submit this? Like,
I don't know, man. Like, I just can't remember when you kind of explained it to me. So, but I remember like there was a lot of resistance to fracking for a long time. So, and then energy independence came around, and then oh my God, it's actually not causing these massive earthquakes. And stuff like that, because it can't, right? Yeah. So,
well, why can't it, Patrick?
Because they're really small pockets of oil. So,
well, they are small pockets of oil, and they do continue to produce. But here's the thing: is when they frack something, Patrick, do they just leave it empty?
No, they fill it with concrete.
Right. So there's this procedure,
which is rock.
Well. I mean, I hate to say it, buddy, but I mean, the thing is, if you ask any, like, basic scientist, you say, excuse me, sir, what is that thing that makes it so that, like, the water level goes up when you get in the bathtub? They'd say, oh, well, that's displacement.
Right.
Like, oh, so if you're going to take something out and you put something equivalent back in, that would be displacing the material so that it reaches basically the equilibrium that you had. You're like, would that cause earthquakes? I don't think so. You're putting in concrete or sand, right? That's one of those things. You say, so you're taking a liquid out but putting sand in.
Yeah.
That causes earthquakes?
Right. Yeah.
Now, I can understand that there are probably some impacts where you say, all right, can this potentially do things to the earth? I'm like, maybe small things. But the thing is, I can tell you that the way that the geologists and the planners, the well planners put this out here, they know where the goddamn water supplies are. They know where.
Oh, yeah, they don't want to get sued. So.
Well, it's not just, it's not just don't want to get sued. It's, man, the shit was in place where, okay, so here's the hard line. You touch this, everything stops.
Yeah.
Right? That's the rule, right? It never happened while I was there. I think some guys got close once.
Yeah.
And everybody threw a fit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's the thing is they have strict regulations because they're like, well, we can't taint this. We can't do this. We don't want this to happen. It's like... Like, I can sit there and look at cities that have, like, sinkholes, right? That, like...
Yeah, that's true.
You turn around and say, but you're not fracking under New York.
Right.
So how is that happening?
How is this the thing? Yeah.
You know, that's the.
Could it be shitty drainage? You know, so.
Oh, gee. Now, if you want to talk about like how old sewer systems are and stuff like that, yeah,
Oh,
I
fuck
got
yeah,
you.
yeah.
I got you. I had the distinct misfortune of doing a program. I don't know if it got picked up. I think this was like a pilot that I did. And this is basically about sewer divers.
Oh, gross. Are they poking out fatbergs?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
That's horrifying.
So, okay, there's a point to this where I say, okay, this is interesting. I can't look at it.
Right, yeah.
Right? And, you know, they did point out certain things where they said, okay, here's what's going on in these old sewers. Here's how we find the stuff. Like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Right? But when you actually go in there and he's like, well, you can't, like, chip at this stuff. It's like, why? It's like, well, the problem is when you're in here, you're basically, like, in this, like, super suit, right?
Yeah.
It's like, if you even nick this...
all the pathogens. Yeah.
And they said the basically like what'll happen, and it's a number of things. And one of the things they said, like, look, here's the biggest problem that we have right now is those disposable wipes.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, he says there's,
Particularly in London. So I hear that it's like so popular, you know.
which is weird because like
They use them for toilet paper. So yeah.
well, there's that, but also I have never seen, you know, I really turned the corner on this. I do think the bidet is the answer.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think Japan's got it figured out. So.
And France and certain other places that were big on having their buttholes tickled by like splashing water. I used to look at these guys for a long time. I was like, "What are you, freaks?"
Oh.
It's like, but no, they're absolutely right. And somebody pointed out to me, he said, like, so if you got shit on your arm, it's like, yeah. It's like, you just wipe it off with a piece of paper and call it good.
With newspaper. Just wipe it on the couch.
I said no. So I was like, okay, I'll bear that in mind. I will consider that the next time I buy my next toilet. But yeah, they said the sewer system cannot handle it, and so many blockages. They said this is a problem because this is, if we don't get to this within the next 12 hours, this is going to recede above like they say. What happens then? Well, everybody, like, you're going to contaminate the whole neighborhood.
Yeah,
it's like, no way. It's like,
oh yeah.
Okay, got it.
No, that happened up in my father-in-law's neighborhood in his old house. So up there on the hill, yeah. So they had sewer blockage because they had that long street that ran down. So from the where the school is.
Yeah.
And so there was just one pipe coming out of there, and it got crushed or broke or some shit. And yeah, his whole basement was 6 inches of poo. So
that's so gross.
Oh, it's so gross. And that's the thing is I guess I didn't do this. Oh no, I actually do have this on my homeowner's policy. But yeah, your homeowner's policy will not cover that. So unless you pay for the additional coverage.
Really?
Yeah, really. So in the city, as part of their, you can't sue the city for it because it's part of like your hookup agreement. So it's like, hey, we can't do anything about it. You know, this shit happens.
Yeah.
So,
you didn't do that on purpose.
I didn't do that on purpose.
It's not bad. It's just not. It's not egregious.
No, not too egregious. Yeah, but no, So I like some of those shows where they show you a little bit of expertise and stuff like that. You know, and you realize that, like, a lot of people who are in the engineering field, they really know their fucking shit. So, you know...
why are they never consulted?
I don't know, man, but, like, that whole thing with the train crash, I dug out the manual and I read the NTSB report. I was like, you guys did exactly everything you said you were going to do. It was all correct, so nobody got hurt. Okay, so everybody's like, ow, my eyes and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, okay? So fucking get out of the neighborhood for a month, all right? It'll be fine. Okay, but that's what's going to happen when they burn off phosgene.
Well, look, and I will absolutely not... I certainly will not hold it against anybody that is like, you know, that's an inconvenience. This is
absolutely
problematic. And you're right; it needs to be treated accordingly.
Oh, and the I'm telling you right now, the railroad will make them whole. They will, you know, because quite honestly, It's not going to bankrupt them. A lot of that's going to be covered by insurance. They're going to go back and they're going to pound on the federal government. So, because the STB makes them take that shit. So, and none of the equipment was defective. None of their practices were defective. They did everything according to regulations. So,
Here's a question for you. All right, that NTSB report that you read, okay, you made quick sense of it.
Sure.
Pretty much immediately. Is it so obtuse that a casual reader would not be able to understand the results?
No, this is the preliminary one, so it has none of the technical shit in it. It's fine. So it's basically a brochure.
So even if you had like a double retard like Don Lemon, like put that in front of him, and
we had to tell him which send as well, but he's not getting it. So it's a double retard. I heard he got in trouble, man. He has to go to like sensitivity training.
The whole crew does.
Oh, really?
Like,
What's the
there's
story?
a gang of people that have to go.
This is CNN, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So would somebody like him be able to actually read that in good faith and not? Okay.
Here's the thing, man. It happened like a week and a half ago? Okay? It takes time to investigate this shit because shit's on fire, okay? So you're not going in there and, here's where the rail broke, and, here's where this goes. Let's go download the shit off the defect detector when you're still actively dealing with the spill. So, fine, all right? It's just nobody had any patience on it, and so they came up with all these bullshit answers. And that's why the NTSB report is 4 goddamn pages long. It's that simple. So, yeah, I think double retard Don Lemon could probably read it.
Sometimes, Patrick, I wish we had a wider audience because I would love that to be trending. I would love that to be like.
See that on Twitter?
Dude, like, you call me what now?
Well, I don't know. We had a couple of them. Don Lemon's on the list now. Who was the other guy that we were picking on a lot? Wasn't it Randy Quaid? What were we calling him? It was Dennis Quaid. I can't remember.
Well, we were picking on Randy Quaid too.
We were picking on Randy Quaid.
I don't remember why. Well, I mean, I can imagine, given what some of his conspiracies, or maybe that actually came up with the UFO talk that we were having a couple of weeks ago.
It might have. The UFO talk.
Yeah, that God.
Oh yeah, Jurassic Joe. Yeah.
Dude, and look, I would also say this. Okay, so in terms of the way this politically fell out, this ended up being a Trump win. This ended up being a huge Trump win, especially since Buttigieg decided that he would show up a day later.
That was dumb. That was bad.
It's like, either stick to your guns. Well, look, I would argue that as a president or in that position, in Buttigieg's position, like, I would have been down there earlier. I would have said, like, just to make an appearance, just to be like,
well, like, especially when it started to heat up in the news the last 4 or 5 days.
I'll be there.
No, exactly. In fact, if I were him, I would have been the guy who released the report. So,
but instead, as far as I think, they lost Ohio for sure.
Oh, I guarantee. Well, yeah, they were going to lose Ohio anyway. The question is Pennsylvania, because it's right there on the Pennsylvania border. So
now, remember, there's a lot of Ohio people that root for the Steelers.
There are a lot of Ohio people. Yeah, we had an episode about that, right?
We did. Yeah.
Annexing Eastern Ohio. Yeah. So, but no, I agree. Donald Trump, his instincts are back. He's pretty sharp again, man, and he's going to be dangerous. So, there was a big thing in Politico. There is rampant speculation right now, and I don't trust Politico terribly, but there's a couple writers there that I do like.
There's enough there to not discount it. There's enough there to say, like, you guys are probably not making shit up out of your ass.
They have a couple people who would be writing for Kotaku if they could.
I don't say.
but not all of them. And so they had a big article though the other day that there is apparently rampant speculation in the Democratic Party that Joe Biden's going to duck out. So
I'm hearing that now.
They can't get him to commit to it in private, so, which is interesting. And then, I don't know, just out of curiosity, I went back and looked at his 2016 speech at the DNC. He's not going to make it 5 more years, man.
Oh, in terms of what was actually said, in terms of like how it actually came out as
in terms of his energy. No, he looks old. So I hadn't really thought or considered that until I went back and saw him at the end of his term with Obama, and when he basically passed the torch on to Hillary there. He's a completely different dude.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to run. So
there's a reason. As soon as the questions start, he turns his back and walks off.
And I don't think the Democrats have anybody who can take out the Orange Menace. So,
not now. But that's the thing. Is again, I am always going to point towards 1992. Is
oh yeah, that's true.
Nobody saw this little hillbilly from fucking Arkansas,
right?
This fucking Oxford educated hillbilly
Rhodes Scholar,
that comes back and's like, I'm just one of you guys,
I play a sax.
I'm fishing.
I got a friend who's got an island. It's a pretty nice place.
These fucking scum.
That guy is
disgusting human beings.
Yeah.
And I would argue that his wife is complicit in every single last.
His wife is. Oh man, I've heard rumor that she might make a comeback too. So there would be nothing that would make Donald Trump happier. There would be nothing. I mean, I think he might have a heart attack of joy.
That might kill him, yeah.
That might kill him. He just gets that grin on his face.
You see a grown man like this who's been president, but suddenly it's like he turns into Beavis.
I'm gonna start watching those. Have you seen them?
I am going to. Yeah, I've watched a bunch of the new season, but I'm going to actually sign up for that network because that is also, if I recall, that's the place where the new Picard season 3 is.
Oh, okay.
And I do want to see that because evidently that is a.
Drinker said it was much better.
Well, evidently a lot of people have. Basically, it was like if you do like Star Trek, this is actually the most Trekkiest Trek that you'll get.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I have to see this.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in this. This is relevant to my interest. Patrick.
So what network is that? That's HBO?
That's Paramount.
Oh, that's Paramount.
Paramount, yeah.
I wonder if I can get that on YouTube TV. I wonder if we can scrape it. Because it can scrape the Beavis and Buttheads off MTV. So,
yeah, but those are the MTV ones.
No, they're new ones. So.
Well, MTV did a series a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay. It might not be then. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
They did a series a couple of years ago, and evidently there was some kind of ratings were great, but evidently there was some kind of like fuck up between people and like a change in leadership, and people got pissed at each other and so it kicked out. So it went to Paramount. But yeah, speaking. Oh, Patrick. Okay, they did. Did you see the? We talked about this last time.
Uh-oh.
In between you and I talking about it, okay, they announced that they are making new Lord of the Ring movies.
Jesus,
they are redoing the Lord of the Rings movies.
They're redoing Peter Jackson's original.
That is correct.
That's fucking horseshit. So why? Money. Yeah, it's money. It's money. It can't be his company that's doing that. What is that, Wingnut or whatever it is?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Just announced it was either last night or this morning.
Fuck, that's probably Amazon doing that.
I guarantee you it is.
Fuck that guy. So that sucks. Okay. Well, are they going to pull the pin on the TV series then, please?
No, they have that set for 5 years.
Oh, goddamn, man.
That's 5 years.
I wish them nothing but, like, shrinking profit margins on that one.
What you're looking for is misery.
I want misery, yeah. I'm not a very vengeful guy, but that one got under my skin. So...
Look, man, I said this the other day. Don't fuck with things that you have no right to fuck with. Unless you're going to pay... You're not as important as the person who actually wrote the material. You're not.
Sure.
Right? So it's not your place to go out there and say, like, well, I know better. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. There are certain things that you could update. You could say, like, well... in 1936, this word was okay for everyone to use, but
yeah,
you know, I can understand that, and you might want to.
Oh yeah, we might want to pull this one. You know,
And I've seen that movie.
oh, it's great.
Yeah,
It's
I really don't.
no,
see it as remotely offensive as people say.
Nobody did when we were younger either. So yeah, I remember watching that on Disney Channel. So yeah,
I saw the re-release in the theater.
I never saw that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember that one used to always they played this song specifically on like Wonderful World of Disney all the time because they were that good. So
yeah,
no. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there's certain. So we're not going to do Commando Duck again.
Commando Duck.
Oh, you don't know about Commando Duck?
One was Commando
this is
Duck?
Donald Duck versus the Japanese.
Oh,
Yeah. You know that one.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that one. I don't think we need to redo that one. So, but. You know, Lord of the Rings isn't that old, man. So it's not. And so, like, I wonder, if it's Amazon behind that. See, that would be interesting though if they're actually doing that for the original 3 books, because my understanding was Amazon only had like 2 chapters of the Silmarillion that they got out of that guy.
Me, yeah.
I might be wrong about that, but I'm positive I read that. So,
well, you know, and that's the thing, Patrick, is that may have been true at the time. They may have.
True.
Gone over to the Tolkien estate and said, okay, well, here's more money.
Right, yeah. We're going to draw more zeros on this check.
And my understanding is that Tolkien's grandson is a little bit of a fucking idiot when it comes to, like, not really respecting his...
he likes money.
Well, I guess he also does not really have a great respect for his grandfather's work. He's just like... a lot of this is outdated, blah, 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 blah. What's interesting, I did not know this. You tell me if you know this. I watched a certain thing about, evidently for many years, Tolkien was actually planning a follow-up to Lord of the Rings.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't know that either, but evidently, like, notes have gone back and forth, and people that he's talked to about what it was going to be about. And... there were a couple things where they have him saying, I can't remember that plot with it, because like it bounced back and forth a number of times. He was looking for an interesting avenue to do this, but a lot of times he just kind of fought it off, because I guess like in his mind he had been writing the lore of what happens after the rings for a long time, right? And I guess his perspective and what a difficult thing as a writer to do, right? Is to say, like, well, I am going to continue to write out the lore and history of everything that happens, but if it's not interesting to warrant writing a book from that time period, right, I won't. And I guess that's what happened, was he continued. He's like, okay, so... it had something. It's like, so Aragorn lives this much longer. He dies at this point, and this is, you know, how his lineage. And so he just keeps writing out these things. This is what the place is like.
Just making shit up.
It's his universe, and he just kept writing stuff in it. And so there was a part here where he thought he had an interesting piece, right? And so he focused on that. But like for 17 years, he's like, I can't find an interesting angle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing is, like, a lot of people forget is that he was a bona fide academic. So,
I mean, translations.
Yeah, he had a job.
Yeah.
You know? Lord of the Rings was his hobby. You know?
Well, you said it was his therapy.
It was his therapy.
In many ways, right?
Yeah. It was. He did talk about how it was cathartic. So, yeah. But that's too bad that they're going to make those again. Well, we'll see. Maybe that project will fall through too.
Or could, or you know,
who knows?
I guess
maybe they'll do a good job.
Maybe they'll do a good job. I would say that. I would also argue that my perception on how old it is a little bit off, because for me it still feels like they just made them. But I do know that they are.
Yeah, they hold up really well, though.
You know,
so like the CGI in that one, with the exception of like,
oh boy,
one little trip down an elephant's trunk, and you know, but like the whole thing at Helm's Deep is fantastic. So just because of the way that it's shot, you know, there's a couple spots here and there that are a little rough. They got the wrong horizon and stuff like that, but you know.
Did you when you rewatched Lord of the Rings or Return of the King, when they're doing this rotating shot of them running into the volcano, it doesn't match up with the direction they're running?
It's weird, man.
It's like, whoa, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
You guys, this needed to bake another minute, or you need to reshoot one of these two things before you released it.
Yeah.
But that's not right.
No, that's not right. So, yeah. No, there's a couple shots in there that I liked. It has been a while since I sat down and watched through them all. So, the one that
was about a year ago.
Yeah, so TBS, the other night on the bar, they were playing all the Star Wars. So, and
The good ones? Or?
no, all of them. So, man, the CGI in Attack of the Clones is rough. It's bad. And I remember it was like cutting edge at the time, but now it is like their PS4 graphics, man. Yeah.
I mean, step it back a generation, bro.
Really? You gonna be that rough on them?
No, I'm gonna say it's PS3 cutscenes.
Okay, cutscenes on the PS3. Right. Well, does it have to spin up? Okay. All right, I'll give you that.
It's not in-game material.
Yes. Yeah. Oh.
Are you talking about that wonderful little Coliseum fight where they're fighting?
It is so bad. It is so terrible.
StarCraft Hydralisks and the
Hydralisks. Yeah. All the Zerglings. Yeah.
And the very like. They're like, does Video Toaster have like a generic like wolf? Yeah. Or no, like a tiger? Do they have like a generic tiger?
Video Toaster.
You're like, yeah, there's a tiger in here. Okay, use the tiger.
Yeah.
We're gonna use this as a stand-in, and it just made its way through the movie.
Right.
Yeah. What's interesting is I did read some information about what. I guess there were some very interesting editorial choices on what Attack of the Clones was going to be versus what it turned out to be.
I remember George Lucas was like arguing with everybody in his kitchen. So,
and like 3 versions of himself. Like it was. My understanding is at that point he was basically like that Bugs Bunny cartoon where he was playing every position on the field. Because
one-man band here.
Because evidently, like they showcased. I don't know where I saw this, but there was a guy that had just a ton of like unused like concept art and like story notes, and there was some stuff in there that was. All I could say was, why didn't you go with any of this? Is fascinating.
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen a couple of people actually like do rewrites on Attack of the Clones and turn it into a very different movie. So,
like it turns out really dark.
It actually kind of fits into the rotation a little bit better than the way that it was set up there. And Count Dooku is actually cast as like kind of a tragic figure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
And they did a little bit of that in the Clone Wars stuff. So. But
maybe that was it. Maybe knowing that there would be supplemental material that you were going to do with this, but like I've said before, man, it all comes down to billiards. Make the shot first. You don't worry about the leave. You make the shot first.
Yeah, and take the shot you can make.
Correct.
It's not the ideal one.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you're totally right about that.
And if it's up to the supplemental guys afterwards, if you say like, all right, so here's what you've got. What can you come up with? Some dude is going to say, they're going to look at a character and say, like, this person is vastly underrepresented.
Right.
I'm going to expand on this.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how you get it. But if you try to, this is what Disney's going through right now, is when you try to mastermind the whole thing and predict, right? When you predict what the audience is going to love, right? You got to let some things happen, right? You can't turn around and say like fucking Moon Knight is what you get. Fucking it's like, okay, this is She-Hulk's going to be huge because we say so.
Oh, God.
Right? Like, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It's the same thing. Like when the original trilogy came out, they didn't know how popular. Like, it should be a no-brainer. It's like, well, what's everybody's favorite character? Is it Luke? It's like, well, we like him.
Yeah.
Well, who do people like? It's like, well, so the guy in the black samurai armor with the like breathing machine, right? People really gravitated to him. No way. He's just the bad guy.
Yeah.
Same thing came around when the episode 1 came out, and they said, well, okay, they're gonna like this, like fucking Jamaican Rabbit. It was like, so go ahead.
You have to write him out of the second movie.
It's like, people go nuts over this. He's going to be awesome, right? And so they said, well, who do people actually like? Well, the dude that got cut in half was in the movie for about 4.5 minutes.
Right, exactly. So,
And said 2 lines.
Did he say anything?
Yeah, he says, "At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we'll have our revenge."
Oh, okay. I don't remember that.
That's like his line.
Yeah, okay.
But he's still everybody's favorite character.
Sure, yeah.
Because what does he do when he pops up?
Kicks ass.
Looks menacing, kicks some ass.
Yeah, he gets sliced in half.
That's and he gets sliced in half and then thrown down a hole. So you're like, I don't care what supplemental material says. I'm like, that's
so much so they had to resurrect him later.
Yeah, and give him like a half robot body.
That's so stupid, man.
It's like, no, it's like, guys,
leave him dead.
You wouldn't throw him down the hole if you didn't expect him to be dead.
Right.
This is the same thing where when the Sarlacc belches after it eats Boba Fett,
yeah, that means he's melted. He's
being digested for 1,000 years.
Yes. That's what's at the bottom.
Oh
of
my god!
There,
yeah, that's the bottom of the Sarlacc. Guys, get my stuff. Where is it? It's in the hell level of the Sarlacc.
Sarlacc, holy shit's down there. Don't turn this computer off. Alright, I don't think we can top that.
No, that's fine. It has so much. It's got layers.
It's got layers.
Yeah,
layers upon layers. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
Hitting the button.
All right.